Association for details. On your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
The body of a missing woman is found. 2 men are behind bars. Now investigators believe one of them tried to hide it all.
Plus, a lot of businesses and the unemployed have done everything they're supposed to, but a lot are still waiting on help from the government. We take a look at what the holdup could be.
And bars in Augusta could be reopening this weekend, but social distancing would strongly be enforced. We'll tell you what that will look like. But we start this evening with the case of Tiffany Odom, as deputies now believe one of the suspects used her phone to try to frame someone else.
Odom has been missing for more than a month now, and today investigators confirmed the body found in Jackson was Tiffany.
2 men are charged in connection with Odom's disappearance. Sydney Heiberger has a closer look at this case.
Investigators now confirm the body found right in this area of Gum Spring Road is Tiffany Joy Odom. After we got our hands on the arrest warrants for 2 of the men allegedly involved in this case, we now know investigators believe at least one of the men tried to throw them off. The case was unusual from the very beginning. Investigators don't usually go door to door handing out flyers in a missing persons case. But for Tiffany, it was a different story. According to this flyer, the 26-year-old was last seen on April 11th, which is peculiar because according to an arrest warrant, Harry Miller is accused of concealing her body on April 4th. A week before, the 50-year-old is the father to Odom's child, and we found social media posts of the 2 of them dating back to 2016. Miller is also charged with tampering with evidence. Investigators say Miller used the deceased's cell phone to transmit messages to his own in efforts to deceive authorities. They also say he removed the phone from the incident location and placed said phone at the residence of another without their knowledge in efforts to frame them. 55-year-old Brian Foster is also charged with concealing a death. Investigators believe the 2 men moved Tiffany's body from Augusta to Jackson, South Carolina, where she was found more than 6 weeks after they believe she died. Now, it's important to remember neither of these 2 men have been charged with murder at this point. In fact, at last check, no murder charge has been made in this case. Of course, as more develops, we'll keep you updated. Reporting in Jackson, Sydney Heiberger on your side.
All right, Sydney, thank you. Deputies are also asking for your help finding 2 other missing people right now. Deputies are looking for Sarah Cheshire. She's also known as Lexi, and she was last seen 8 days ago at the Motel 6 on Boy Scout Road. Deputies say she's also known to be around the hotels there on Washington Road. She's about 5'3", long brown hair and blonde highlights. Also, this man is missing Adam Harris. He left his house on Wooten Road around 3 in the afternoon yesterday. Deputies say he was walking toward Olive Road. Harris suffers from schizophrenia, and deputies say he does not have his medication. So if you know where either of these people might be, call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office.
More news ahead as we give you a lot.
Be going back up. So any plans this evening, if you need to step out, not looking like we're going to see much. Can't rely on an isolated shower. We'll have more on the higher rate changes tomorrow and the rest of the week coming up.
Thanks, Riley. The moment a lot of folks have been waiting for could happen this weekend. Bars getting the chance to reopen all across Georgia as Governor Kemp's order is set to expire.
But it's going to look a lot different than you're probably used to. Brady Trapnell explains.
On Monday, the doors will reopen here at Stillwater Tap Room downtown, but right now, the owners are just getting ready the best that they can. Putting the beer back on tap is just one step towards getting tapped back into the local economy.
Having to stall it for, a couple more weeks, it's a little aggravating.
Matt Flynn has spent the time closed renovating Stillwater Tap Room. He tried to reopen on May 14th before Governor Kemp pushed it back to June 1st.
I don't want any last-minute surprises. It would be nice if they just tell us what we need to do to get going.
But the state hasn't given any direction. So bars are guessing what the guidelines may be. Social distancing, face masks for staff, and likely lower capacity.
With just basic face mask and standard protocol, I think we should be all right.
Some bars still plan to keep waiting. Soleil says they haven't even decided how they'll reopen their nightlife. After all, social distancing in a bar won't be easy. The sheriff's office says they'll rely on officers working special duty to monitor inside. Deputies won't be going door to door to check for problems. That's as long as reopening isn't delayed again. The kegs in these bars aren't bottomless.
I would think another month or two, before things get really scary.
The sheriff's office says their approach will be education first, and if the rules aren't followed after that, then they'll likely issue a citation, and if the rules aren't followed after that, then they'll shut down the bar. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Chapnell on your side.
And as Brady mentioned, they don't plan to go in, but if they notice a bar that is not practicing social distancing, they could stop in.
And the governor's order could be extended, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with all of that. We're keeping up with coronavirus cases at our local hospital.
Aiken, Orangeburg, and Saluda counties. 6 more people have died since yesterday.
We have talked so much about how the pandemic has been hard for small businesses, and that's where the federal disaster loans were supposed to help. But Sierra Cummings has learned not many businesses here or across the 2 states have gotten relief.
The federal government approved hundreds of millions to help small businesses, including in states like South Carolina and Georgia. But even with that, it seems more businesses are without the help than with it. Just like the required mix to make its pastries, Wrdw Donuts relies on a recipe for business. Revenue was usually the main ingredient up until about March.
And it was sketchy for a little while.
Mark Parker applied and got approval for federal SBA COVID assistance.
We were able to use that to offset the cost of the employee salaries.
That's thanks to the federal PPP loan. It helps sustain paychecks for workers. The donut shop is one of about 130,000 Georgia small businesses to get approved.
We make it here every night.
Wrdw Donuts also got the other relief option too, the disaster assistance loan.
It's allowed us to stay open.
Roughly only 9,000 of Georgia's 1 million small businesses received this type so far. Though the federal government has issued billions of dollars to help small businesses, Daniel Evans argues it may not be flowing to where it needs to be.
When you want to take a shower, you need 2 things. You need plumbing and hot water. And the fund from the CARES Act was the hot water. But what has not been worked on, what has not been funded through the CARES Act well, is the plumbing.
Comparing the 2 types of relief, it seems the PPP loans are approved at a higher rate for both Georgia and South Carolina. However, he says a factor in low numbers altogether right now is the banking. Many shops without previous business histories with the bank are less likely to be approved.
That lack of access to the financial institution on a regular basis is heightened and precipitated through a crisis,
leaving many local owners questioning where are the resources while the fate of their business remains in question too. In Augusta, Sierra Cummings on your side.
Local agencies like Housing and Community Development are working with small businesses to get those loans through, and the city of Augusta is set to open their own small business relief applications in June. We will keep you updated.
While businesses wait for help, more than 200,000 Georgians are still waiting on their unemployment benefits that they filed back in March. As our Liz Owens explains, their frustrations continue to grow without a paycheck in 2 months.
Identity verification problems, missing information, and even back owed child support are the reasons for many of these claims not being processed. Now, you would think fixing an error on an application would be easy, but as we found out, that's only if you can reach a real live person with the Georgia Department of Labor.
This family picture is a reminder of a happier time, a time when Nicole Raven didn't have to put on a brave face for her 3 children.
It's a pretty real need. I mean, I have a car payment coming up, I have rent coming up, that you try to hide it from your kids.
Life changed immediately for the Raven family when the doors at Reinhardt's Oyster Bar closed in March.
So you've not had a paycheck in how long?
8 weeks.
How are you surviving?
My husband has his unemployment.
Nicole and her husband are both servers. His unemployment check barely covers the bills. Her unemployment claim has been pending for months.
My employer put in my date of birth incorrectly. They put 1987 instead of 1984.
But that one error hasn't been an easy fix.
Because the system had already recognized that they already tried to verify my identity with the Social Security office and they couldn't, it put an ID lock on my account.
She's emailed, she's faxed documents, she's called. Boy, has she called.
I called today, and I called the 3301 number, and she told me, she gave me the number to the integrity unit, which is 404-232-3440.
Yes, she's called so many times, she's memorized the number. Tell me about your experience trying to call them today. She can only laugh as she describes her call on Friday to the Georgia Department of Labor.
I got into the automated system. I pressed, I want to say it was 2 for issues with my claim, and I sat on hold for 4 hours.
You did not.
4 hours. And at 4 hours and 2 minutes, it disconnected the call. I wanted to cry. Because from the start of hour 3, I was like, I'm not hanging up. I'm in the hole for 4 hours. Somebody's got to get to me.
But nobody ever did. And with only one of them getting unemployment,
We can't do anything other than buy groceries.
this family is barely making it.
We can't go camping because that costs money.
All she can do is to continue to smile for her children and remember better times. I did reach out to the Georgia Department of Labor last week and today. I have not heard back yet from them, but Nicole tells me she did hear from them after we sent the email. They told her her claim would be processed and she should get a check tomorrow. Liz Owens, on your side.
Thank you for pushing for that, Liz. PPE from the federal government making its way now into our local nursing homes.